What is good, my people? We are live, back again with another live show on the forecast. Give it a second, let the people come in. What's going on, y'all? I ain't gonna be on here too late. I know I always say that, but I'm just coming on here to let y'all know that a new video about to be up on the Forecast Radio 24, the backup channel. So make sure y'all subscribe. What's going on, Chucky? And yeah, y'all can call in and talk about whatever you want to talk about. You know, I don't really have any specific topics right now, but like I said, I wanted to let y'all know the new video will be up on the Forecast Radio 24 in a little bit, and I'm a live premiere it. I know YouTube like to take my videos down, so I try to live premiere it to at least get it up there. But yeah, I definitely want to hear from the people. It was a interesting show last time. Shouts out to the brothers for coming through. But one thing people I have been seeing on Facebook, I'm sure y'all heard about what Joe Biden said about how the black community just isn't diverse, and of course all of these people are going to make some kind of excuse for Joe Biden to make sure that we keep voting for him. They're trying to push, especially the older generation. They try to push Joe Biden down our throats, right? Saying that as much as I don't like Joe Biden, we have to get Donald Trump out of office. Well, the thing about that, yeah, definitely. I definitely try to follow the guidelines, but it's not about the guidelines. It's about controlling the media. It's about controlling what people hear and see, And all of these videos that I show, they're all on YouTube. It's not like I'm going out finding hidden videos or nothing like that. But, it is what it is. When you challenge the system and you tell people, you know, or at least ask, what is it to voting for somebody like Joe Biden or Donald Trump? Why should we even participate in something like that? But the older generation will tell you, you can't waste your vote. So many people died for you to vote, but they didn't die for us to vote. They died while they were voting. First of all, they were murdered, right? They were just minding their business trying to vote and they were murdered. But if you want to make that argument, you're going to have to say they died for representation. And I never really mentioned the whole ADOS situation, right? And I don't even really want to speak on it. And what I seen, a post where somebody said, you know, um, we fought to be a part of this country. I'm not sure if y'all seen it, but they say, it's time for us for our masters to accept us and give us our reparations. So first of all, I don't really know who sent that. Yeah, no one has our best interest. Neither party has our best interest. And to be honest with you, right, when Donald Trump is in office, now people are doing more. If Hillary Clinton would have been in office, people would have still been accepting what's going on, right? There wouldn't be this whole Black Lives Matter movement. And the importance of talking about, what we talked about on the last show is they get out in front of us, and create their own organizations, right? Because the last time in the 60s something like this happened, and black people was in charge during the Black Power movement when they got tired of getting beat up, right? They were burning down the cities, they were attacking the cops, and of course, the laws like the Voters Right Act was passed once people start actually turning violent. It wasn't Martin Luther King with the nonviolence. It was Stokely Carmichael and Malcolm X saying, well, if you're not going to listen to Malcolm, if you're not going to listen to Martin, right, then you going to get the results of that. And that's us. And, that's why we have to understand the art of war, right? But as long as we're fighting to be a part of somebody else's system, they understand that they got us, right? We go to work every single day for a piece of paper with somebody's face on it that would have lynched us, right? Especially talking about what we're talking about and having the kind of beliefs that we have, right? If you still in that kind of system, then you don't have any power. What's going on, Indigenous One? But yeah, if you still in that kind of system, then you don't have any power. So to sit here and scold somebody and to say, if you don't vote Democrat, right? If you don't get out and vote, that's a vote for Donald Trump. Well, suppose I was voting for Donald Trump. If I don't vote, would that be a vote for Joe Biden? That whole argument doesn't even make sense to me. And at the end of the day, it's time for us to start focusing on our building our own system instead of fighting to be a part of somebody else's system. Right? In the video that I'm about to release, I was talking about a young brother, Sean Worsley. I'm sure y'all heard about that young brother. That brother was just riding through Alabama, right? He's a veteran minder, got a Purple Heart, did all of the brave acts that you're supposed to do, right? Served his quote unquote country. And this brother was just riding through Alabama on the way to North Carolina to help his grandma. And all he did was stop at the store, right? Just to get gas. And this brother was just standing outside of his car playing the air guitar when the police pulled up on him. And he had legal marijuana that, he was prescribed due to his PTSD from his time in service. So this cop, even though America respects its veterans, this cop decided to charge this brother with a felony possession with intent to sell, even though, that was not the case. And now, even though this $1 billion industry, because like I said, it's for them, it's not about the rules. They only make rules for us, right? They only make these laws to enforce against us. But, this brother had a little bit of legal medical marijuana, and now he's serving 5 years because he couldn't afford to go back and forth from where he lives to Alabama and hire lawyers and representatives. And this is the system that we defend. And this brother specifically went out there to defend the system. What's going on, brother Bakari? If you want, you can come on. I ain't gonna be on here too long. I don't really have a topic. And by the way, anybody can call in. The number is on the screen. Is 804-601-4015. But yeah, this brother, yeah, Jim Crow is alive and well. And one of the things that I learned from just studying like the whole history of, especially just the history of racism, right? Specifically racism, right? Every 100 to 150 years, they change up the tactics. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still the same, you know, ruthless bloodshed as it always is, but it's just different tactics, right? They go from slavery to Jim Crow, from Jim Crow to what people will call the new Jim Crow. Well, yeah, they haven't done anything. The Democrats haven't done anything, but we can't expect other groups to do anything. That's the point, right? The difference in like the 40s and the 50s, right? They had the right, well, black men had the right to vote, even though, of course, they would probably get lynched for trying. But they didn't have the illusion of inclusion, right? They was like, they knew that they were hated so much that this group of people didn't even want their money. So what they did was recycle their money. And they were able to build prosperous communities. But what we don't realize is the system is not just going to go away. And it's not just about violence. And one of the main ways that they keep the system going is through divide and conquer. And there's so many ways you can go with politics. Yeah, one black Republican. Mhm. But they divide us in so many different kind of ways, right? And of course we don't all think the same, so we disagree on a lot of stuff. That's right, they are playing chess. They think 10, 20, 30 moves ahead, and we're still reacting to the last couple of things they did to us, right? The drug epidemic in the 80s was the perfect example, right? They destroyed the black power movements that was going on in the late 60s going into the 70s, right? And then they took out all of the leaders, destroyed all of the communities, right? Set the people up in the projects during the 70s, right? And then introduced this drug called crack cocaine. Now, these people used the money they were making from selling the crack to fund the war. That's how they were bringing it over here, right? The places that they were going to, fighting wars, George Bush and them. Well, not Bush, but Reagan. They were going to fight wars and they were funding. Well, their soldiers were bringing the product back here, selling it to, especially to the people in LA. Rick Ross will tell you that himself. And these people made billions, enough money to fund a war, selling crack, specifically, mostly to the black community. And then on the back end, well, before you get to the back end, you destroy the community even more. Right? What drugs do to a family. Right? We won't even have to talk about it. And the violence that it introduced. And now you have two brothers who was just fighting side by side 10 years earlier, trying to fight the system. Now they're fighting each other over a couple of dollars. But then on the back end, the government made billions of more dollars locking us up for the coke crack they gave us. Right? The prison program started in the 80s. Well, most of the private prisons for profit stopped popping up in the 80s. And now that's $1 trillion industry. And all of that was specifically designed to attack the black community. Now, did other people do drugs? Yeah. But that was aimed directly at the black community. Because we live in a country, in a system that has been declared war on us. It's not like we are the ones that's declaring war. Right now we're prisoners. Our ancestors were kidnapped, or whatever you want to say. They were slaughtered, tortured, brutalized. And we have to understand that a system of white supremacy can only be defined by black inferiority. And when you look at this system, that's why when you talk about politics and candidates, they can only really say, well, we'll do for the black community what we'll do for everybody else. Because if you lift the black community up to where everybody else is, then there's no more white supremacy. So yeah, we'll lift the bottom up, but while we're lifting the bottom up, we have to lift everybody else up. But it's defeating the purpose if we're still on the bottom. And if you know, because people know that the Democrats don't really do anything for our vote, because even the people who still pushing Democrat, and it's mostly older people, but the people who push Democrat, they'll even tell you, well, yeah, the Democrat don't do specifically for us. Well, if that's the case, then why would they ever do anything for you if you're gonna vote for them anyway? What would be the purpose? Oh yeah, the CIA. Yeah, they were the ones supplying it, the CIA. Right? And we have to understand where the FBI itself, and all of these smaller groups that come out of the FBI, their job was specifically to stop the rise of the Black Messiah. Right? That's what the FBI was created for. But they can't stop it because it's an energy. And I'll tell you, the Black Messiah is Black unity. And that's why, J. Edgar Hoover, his first mission was to stop Marcus Garvey. And he's appointed by presidents that we say, well, they're liberal. They do things for us, right? We think presidents like Lyndon Baines Johnson, right, who said, I'll have those niggas voting Democrat for 200 years. And damn near 60 years later, we are. But we got to look at him as some kind of, white savior, because he said, I'll give these niggas the Voting Right Act that they still have to, pass every so often to allow you to have protection to vote. And don't think that they won't ever lift that, because, during Reconstruction, Black people thought, oh yeah, we're out of slavery, we're good now. But the first Jim Crow laws was passed before the 13th Amendment was officially ratified. They already had their game plan in place. And that's what we have to understand. And as long as we're fighting to be a part of their game plan, they know that we're not making our own game plan to get where we want to be. Brother Bakari, what's going on, bro?
Peace, my good brother. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. What's going on with you?
Oh man, hard work, dedication for my people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, you had a interesting show yesterday too, man. Tell the people what you was talking about. I was saying something similar.
Oh, yeah, it is something similar. And I was going what I spoke of yesterday. The show was called American Comfort. It's how black people do everything in their power to stay comfortable under white people control. We don't truly want liberation. We want to be under white people control, and that's basically like what you're talking about now when you say the art of war, and we just follow everything that they say and do. We allow them to control the narrative. We allow them to control what we should do. They control the fact that you should never want to fight back, even though the whole world has declared war on the black race all around the world. They control the narrative that we should never fight back. We shouldn't want to fight back. The best way to do it is not to ever fight back. Don't even think about it. So it's certain things that are being pushed, and the things that a lot of our people is pushing is going to only keep us comfortable being governed by someone else. And the name of the show is The Art of War. And during the Art of War, and they controlling everything, and we don't understand it. We don't seem to understand the Art of War. A lot of our people don't seem to understand that they have declared war on us, and they constantly kill us. They constantly attack us. The whole world, they constantly attack us, and we do nothing about it but hold up a sign, Black Lives Matter, march in the streets, do our little chants, no justice, no peace. So now you have a brother, the official Grandmaster Jay from NFAC, and the first people to come out and beat the leader of that crew down and on up and around coalition down was black people. But since this is the name of the Art of War, I'm quite sure you have read the book, The Art of War, right? And people say he has to be an agent because he's showing his face. No. One of the first things it teaches, when you're weak, you look strong. See, black people have been afraid for so long. Because you can talk to some people right now, and the first thing come out their mouth is, if we fight back, they're going to slaughter us. It's too many of them. So this brother's coming out, not covering his face. He's showing no fear. They don't know how many people he have with him, totally. They know what they see march, and the people that march with them, because I met up with him here in Atlanta, their face is covered up. His not covered up. That's showing my strength. I don't believe the brother is weak because I know what they come out of, and I have an idea about how many people total that's with them. I don't believe the brother is weak, but everybody else believe they're weak, and we have been playing weak. We have been acting weak because we have been acting afraid. So now I'm going to show my strength. And that's what he's doing now. And what he's doing now, he's making them think. He's making them think about their next move. I saw somebody put in the chat, they say they're playing chess, indigenous one. They playing chess while we playing checkers. Now, the NFAC just made a major chess move. But the only way it's going to work is if we stop beating one another up over ideology, over belief, over who's getting the biggest, who's getting the most YouTube, views. He just come out of nowhere and now people know him. It ain't gonna work if most of us continue to do that. We know all of us is not gonna come. But there is enough of us where we can make a change that want to be part of this. Because I'm gonna tell you, he's motivating people. He is absolutely motivating people. You know, Forecast, I spoke to you about what I've been trying to do here where I live in the Atlanta area, right?
Yeah.
You know how many people have called me since the march in Atlanta, and how many people understand now what I've been talking about. They saw I don't it don't make a difference to me what made them see it. But when they saw him and they hear him speak, now they say they understand what I'm talking about. So when he went to Louisville, I had about 5 of my people go down to Louisville and march with him. Swain, it's a coalition. It's not one organization. He created it so when the organizations come, they're under him. But a coalition, that's several different militias. But now, did you see him when it was about 10, 15,000 march on the streets in the UK, NFAC UK? Did you see that?
No. But so hold
Yeah.
like explain to me like what is NFA, what is NFAC, and what is like their goal, you know what I'm saying?
What our goal is to protect the black man, woman, and child, protect the black family, to help straighten out our communities. What he said was, he said the United States can just carve us out a piece of land, and he used Texas as an example. He said, y'all can give us Texas. But if you don't want to give us Texas, there's other places that want to give us land. So when we decide to leave, y'all get out the way. Don't stop us. Let us go to the people that want to give us land. The goal is to create a nation, a black nation. And I believe the pigs target legal black gun owners. They target them in traffic and end up giving them a case. Nasi Lamak, I hope I said your name right. I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I don't believe all of the shooting that's going on in Chicago is just black. I'm not saying there's no gangbangers doing it, but I don't believe that's just black gangbangers doing it in Chicago. All of this is for a reason, because black gun ownership is coming up, and we'll get more black militias. So they want to do anything to stop our ownership because they want to keep us in a position where we can't defend ourselves. But we have to continue to arm ourselves with knowledge, arm ourselves with guns and bullets, bulletproof vests, do everything you have to do. Go train. We have to come together, put our money together, and purchase land. We need to purchase, and me and my people right now, we're in the process, we're looking for 3 acres, at least 3 acres, right? We saying at least 3 acres, but if we can't afford 3 acres, we'll settle for 1 acre. But we want 3 acres. That's what we're shooting for. So we don't always have to go spend our money in other places to go train to shoot. We can train our maneuvers. Everything that we need our own. And that's one of the goals of the NFAC. We want our own. We tired of being governed by other people. It's time for us to govern ourselves. It's time for us to police. It's time for us to police our communities. We have to get out of that don't snitch. And if you don't want to tell the cops, once we are truly organized, tell us, and we take care of the people that are messing up our community. That is something we have to do, because I heard you speaking earlier, and you are right. They are not going to do it. They are not going to fix us. And like I always say, they are not supposed to. They put us in this position for a reason. So the people that put you in this position, why would they turn around and do something for you? We have to fix us. They created the problem, but we are the solution. We are our only solution. Don't care who we look to on the outside. Don't care how much love we say we have for everybody else. We must learn to love ourselves first and foremost. We must become a selfish race. Or the word I use, because I'm not ashamed to say it, we have to become a racist people like everybody else. And racist mean protecting your own. You speak. This is my son calling me. Let me take this.
Yeah, you all right. Yeah, and any of y'all can call in, by the way. The number is right there, 804-601-4015. Indigenous call in. But yeah, the brother got a lot of good points, and you know, and it's not like there will be one leader of anything. You know, that's the thing that we kind of get caught up on, and there's a lot of ego that get involved when it comes to, you know, when we start talking about leadership, right? But people are leaders in different fields in different areas. Right? Some people know some things better than others, right? And we have to start making decisions as a group, as a collective, right? We can't keep separating ourselves by ideology, whether it be, you know, who we are affiliated with, whether it be our religion or whatever it is. Because when you study the dominant society, right, they understand how to put their tribal differences aside. Not that they don't have the same differences that we do, but they understand that their survival depends on being unified against us, right? But we're not understanding that our survival depends on the same thing. It depends on us being unified together. And you know, as far as these groups, we have so many different groups, and we always argue about the same thing, and we always get caught up on the same thing. Now, you know, we have hundreds of years of experience, and we can't keep making the same mistakes over and over, right? We've been there, we've been through all of that. And you know, everybody is right that we have no other choice but to start getting our own. But you know, then we get divided about when, where, how, and all of that. But really, we have to start with the basics. We have to start taking the very first step, and that is just showing each other support, showing each other love, right? Going out of the way to support each other's business and not just talking about it anymore, right? And with the internet has changed the game. And it's important for us to control our own media because even though, you know, certain people who look like us will come on there and say the things that white supremacy want to say, right? We're in a position where we can put our own narrative about what we're doing out there and people can make their own decisions. But that's why it's important to control, you know, YouTube channels like this one, you know, and all the people who talk about similar things, what I talk about, because everybody has been through the same experience. But at the same time, we have to realize we are in a country where it's been illegal for us to read longer than it is for us to go to public school. Um, yeah. But yeah, as a people, brother Bakar.
I was just letting you know I was off the phone or back. That's all.
Oh, all right, yeah, you good. But so what? Are you a part of that group?
No, mine is BDL, the Black Defense League, something I started a couple years ago.
Hmm.
But that group is more than one militia. It's several. That's why it's called a coalition. It's several different militias. But once you go to something that they have coordinated and organized, they are the leaders. Official Grandmaster Jay, he's the leader once you go there and organize. And even though you're not a part, you get sworn in with them, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
See, and that's one thing. Like I see the indigenous one on here, and it was something you just said. The indigenous one, like me, I tell I'm African. She indigenous. I'm gonna meet people that say they're Moors. I'm gonna meet the Hebrew Israelites. I'm gonna meet because we're not gonna all think just alike. That's something we have to know. Even though Joe Biden say there's no diversity in the African American community, we are diverse in our thinking and in our just we the most diverse people in the world, black people. So that's diversity right there, just the way that we think, right? With our different thinking, right?
Right.
So she the indigenous ones say indigenous to this land. That does not bother me. My ancestors come from Africa. So when they pull me or when they mess with me or mess with her, they're not gonna ask the indigenous one, are you indigenous to this land? Or are you African? And they're not gonna ask me, are you African or are you indigenous? They're gonna see us as the same because our skin is the same. So just on the strength of that, we need to unite. We need to unite and forget about all of the bickering. Forget about who have the most history. Some things we're gonna have to stop for a little while so we can unite, so we can organize. Because once you unite, you have to organize. And once you organize through that organizing, you create a discipline. And you do all that for your fight for liberation. Unite, organize, discipline for the fight of liberation. And that's what we have to do. We have to be able to get past, oh, I don't like him because me and him or me and her had words 5 months ago. I won't let that stop me from helping that person. And I see that person is going through, we have to work together. And then once we get back and once we get control of ourselves, stop letting them control us, the system control us, stop letting them control the narrative of how we're going to live and how we're going to believe and how we see things, and we are in control of us, everybody is going to go to what they believe anyway. But we still stick together. Your militias work together because we all black. So that means somebody from the way I get down gonna marry somebody from the way they get down, just on the strength that we're black alone. And that is what should keep us together so we can respect, love, provide, and protect one another. And that's what it starts with. Respect, love, provide, protect. I know I'm not going to, I know everybody that have a different ideology than me is not going to want to get along with me. I understand that. But what I'm saying is the ones that see what I'm saying and we can see past we have gotten past our differences and now we're going to work on our similarities and we really want to do something. Those are the people we have to try to reach for. That when I did the show last night and you said something about my show, the only reason I did that show because I hate to hear black people insult something that a black man created. So when Marcus Garvey in the UNIA created the red, black, and green flag, it was for Africans in Africa's all around the world, black people all around the world. And I sat there and showed because they say it's just a rag, it doesn't mean nothing. That's how insulting they are. But I sat and I showed last night, and the people, if they didn't see the show, they can go watch the show. It was recognized. We had started to be recognized by a nation by over 100 and it was 125 countries that was recognizing us as a nation and recognizing our flag, black people worldwide. And she said, get that away from her because that flag ain't never done nothing to her. Why you want to put that next to the red, white, and blue? That's why I did it. See, a person like that, I know she would never be with us. And the people that follow her, I know they would never be with us. So we don't worry about them. But the ironic thing is about that, my show last night, brother, and I forgot to pull it up and show it. She has been tweeting and was complaining that her views on her shows were going down. She remember what she said. She remembers she used to be from 25 to 40,000 views. They went down to what she say to 12 to 15,000 views. So she took a chance to talk about black people, black foreigners, black people that don't consider themselves ADOS. and she got about 35, 40,000 views on that. All she had to do was go to talking negative about black people again, and she got views, the type of views that she want. I don't believe all those people that white her is black, they're sitting there agreeing with her, talk negative about black people. But when she did talk negative about black people, her views went up. They are not going to save us. We are going to save us. I have a Facebook thing now. I have to get more active on it, but it's called Black Coalition for Business. And I want black businesses to come together and we can start working together, advertising. I know they have a lot of those on Facebook, but we can start advertising together. We can start working together. Did you see the video I did, Forecast, where I interviewed the lady, the black lady that owned Urban Vitamin Shop?
No, I ain't see that one.
Okay, it's probably like a month old now, but I advertise, and of course, you know, I have a small YouTube channel, extremely, but I advertise on it because that's what I do. I'm always advertising black businesses. But within a month, she done got orders from about 5 people that watch their show, and that's what we have to do. And that's how we support one another and take care of one another. And that's what we are supposed to do. We have to stop giving these people our money who don't care about us at all. Anything you get from somebody else, if we don't have it, you get a necessity from them. But there's things that we can do. There's businesses that we can run. We just have to be willing to put our money together and say, you know what? I'm going to trust my brother or sister this time. My brother and sister have not screwed me. I've been screwed before, but this person didn't. So I'm going to give this person an opportunity, and we are going to work together. And we have to create rules and orders on how the business is going to be run. We don't need the exact same business within one. We don't need 5 of the same business within 1 mile of each other. Different businesses. We need to become an international people where we are running business all around the world, not just here. So we are building bridges, because the way I see it, like Indigenous One say, we're aboriginal to the earth. The whole earth is our throne. So if the whole earth is our throne, that means those resources in Africa belong to us too. So we need to have a team, and if we can put our money together, we can have a team, some people that are willing to go there, and we can invest in some of those resources because they belong to us. That's what other countries are doing. We invest in those resources, now we can take care of ourselves. That's what Marcus Garvey was doing. Or that's what he was attempting to do before he was set up and they deported him out of the country. That's what he was attempting to do. You know what Kaufman Tires is, right? Forecast, you ever heard of Kaufman Tires?
No, I ain't heard of that. What's that?
What kind of tire? Okay, I'm just saying Kaufman Tires. That's the name of a tire company here. I don't know who y'all would have that sell tires or a tire in Virginia. But anyway, right? You know who was the first person to put money into the rubber in Africa? Because they saw the vision of the automobile growing around the world, and they felt that was something that we could control. You know who it was? It was the UNIA. But he made 2 mistakes when he invented, because he was the first person to make a deal with Liberia. White people didn't even see the deal. They didn't have the vision. Marcus Garvey did. But in that vision, he made 2 mistakes. First mistake he made, in my opinion, he invested all of the UNI. They say they agreed on it, but he invested all of the money in that. The second mistake was the person that he trusted, he had vetted him. When he went with Marcus Garvey and they had given, and they was proposing like $3 million to $3 to $5 million to Liberia, and they had agreed, and he come back and he started building warehouses, and the UNIA was building warehouses throughout the United States for that. So our people, and in the Caribbean, but starting so our people in these major cities like New York, Chicago, these big cities where there's a lot of us, can have jobs. One of the black people that went with him and set up went behind him and let him know where he done spent all his money on the warehouses. So now you all can offer them more money. So they ended up offering Liberia about 2 to 3 times more money than what the UNIA could give them. And that's why they didn't even see it. They wanted it just so Marcus Garvey don't get it. And it took one of us to help him, to sell him out. Yep.
Yeah.
What part of Georgia, Naslin, what part of Georgia? Nancy Lennox said, brother William Marcus Wilson in Georgia waiting behind bars for a self-defense case where he shot a white woman in a truck trying to run him off the highway while calling him racist names. How long ago has that been? You should call in the forecast show so you can tell us about it. I yield to Mike Brother Forecast. I'm sorry, I ain't trying to take over your show. I apologize.
Oh yeah, you are good, bro. Yeah, the calling number right there on the screen is 601-4015, and anybody could call in. But yeah, well, I'm not trying to be on this joint too long because I want everybody to make sure y'all subscribe to the backup channel, the Forecast Radio 24. I got the new video coming up soon. I know YouTube like to take it down or whatever. Well, he said 2 months, but yeah, definitely. But that's the whole point of the whole art of war is to keep us divided and conquered, and that started off from the very beginning of everything. The way to keep us enslaved was to keep us separated from each other. We was not allowed to gather in groups of 2 or 3, or that's considered a gang to this very day, right? They did speak different languages, right, in a lot of cases, or they didn't have different cultures, or you know they weren't on the same page, right? But Europeans also weren't on the same page, right? The difference is they had the Berlin Conference where they came together and said, instead of fighting over all of this, right, we're going to just divide it fairly and square. But we as a people, we never had our conference where we say, instead of fighting each other, instead of going at each other over whatever differences we had, we we still, we were not unified. We're not on the same page. And they've done this, from the beginning, of this whole system. That's how they maintain control, whether it be, the light skin, dark skin thing, the house slave, field slave thing, whatever it is, they take every single thing they can use to divide us. And when they tell themselves a lie over and over and over for hundreds of years, not only do they believe it, but we start to believe it. And now the things that they say about us, we start to believe about each other, right? We'll start gripping our, purse tighter if a black man, especially a black man with dreads, walking down the street. But this white boy walking down the street is way more likely to murder you, right? Despite what they try to tell you about black on black crime, right? Because, you got to watch how they manipulate the statistics that they talk. They always use, they always manipulate the statistics, and you got to pay attention to that, right? Just the way that they word their sentences. They use everything as far as war, but they understand us being on the same page has always caused them problems. And, like you said, people have been afraid to fight back. But we have to understand that we have always fought back, and there's been plenty of success doing it, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean going head up with them. It doesn't mean necessarily a bloody battle, right? But people use whatever tactics they could, right? You know, they had access to plants and to nature, and they would poison their owners until, you know, they made it illegal for black people to know about plants. You know, not only not able to read, but you can't even know about plants because it's illegal, right? So it's all different kind of ways to fight back. But the most successful way in history has always been using the guerrilla warfare tactics, right? They can't seem to, you know, go against that, but it's us starting to trust each other, getting back to self, getting loving each other, and learning how to get back to nature and what we do, right? Being one with the earth, but we have a European mindset that has been beaten into us, and we have to learn how to get that out of our heads. But it's going to start with educating ourselves first, educating our children, and controlling the next generation, putting them in a position to have the most success that they could possibly have, right? But again, all of that only comes with unity, and it only comes with being on the same page. You know, brother Bukhari, you got something to say?
No, you're absolutely correct. All of it, it comes with unity. That's what we need, unity. Then once we unite, like I said, we have to organize. And once we organize, we have to have rules. With the rules, create discipline. And that's the only way we're going to get our true liberation. Is through uniting. It's through, like I said, forgetting, in my opinion, right? Forgetting what someone else's ideology is, forgetting what someone else religion is, forgetting all of that, and being concerned about the safety and welfare of our women and our men, women, and children, of our black families. That's what we have to do. So I agree with you, my brother. That's the only way it's going to work if we start seeing a need to take care of one another. Like, did you see the leaked tape, the leaked video of George Floyd?
What do you mean?
I'm saying, you know, they showed the whole video. The whole video has come out now. In the time they stopped him and everything. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you see at the end? I forget who channel I was watching at the end. Man, it was two grown black men out there. It was two grown black men out there. Nobody did nothing. I'm not saying go put your life in harm's way, but there is something we can do to stop them from killing us. We have to stop them from killing us. It's not against the law for us to fight them back. That's why they want to keep us unarmed. That's why they want to keep us unarmed, because they don't want to run across the ones that are willing to fight back that's armed. So as long as they can keep unarmed, as long as you, like you was talking about, I heard when you was talking about the brother from Alabama, right? So now once they make you a felon, it makes it hard for you to be able to defend yourself, because you, in some states, you can't ever own a gun again. You can't ever own a gun because of your felony. So they have done everything in their power to keep us unarmed, to keep us disenfranchised, to keep us discombobulated and confused. And this system continues to do it. But I would say again, they created the problem because they are the creator of problems. But we are the solution to our problems, not them. And I know people saying go vote. I've been registering people to vote since I was 7 years old with my father. My father was a civil rights leader in Mississippi. And, you know, as long as I can tell you about all the stuff that he did, this is the way I am, the way I am, right? My mother, my father. But I'm to the point now with me being 48, I'm like, What has voting truly done for black people, especially in a presidential election? These people don't even mention black people. None of them. Donald Trump has a couple times. Joe Biden, his claim to fame, what he did for black people, not what he did to black people, but what he did for black people. What he told Charlamagne the God, come on, man. What are you thinking, man? I made sure that you can that the Voter Right Act lasted another 25 years. So, and that's what I tell people, because this is what I believe, right? He who feeds you controls you, right? So whoever, if they give you something, they can take it back. So they're gonna hold that little Voter Right Act over your head. If y'all don't do right the next 25 years, you won't have the right to vote. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not a law where they can't just take it back. It's an act, and they can just take it. We are still in a position, for people saying voting is so important, we are still in a position where they can just take your vote. Because since they gave us the right to vote, they can take that right back. Anything, so if someone give it to you, they can take it back. That's just my opinion. And dealing over here in this land, look at the look at the people on the reservations. Do you remember when they were talking about their standing with Standing Rock out in South Dakota? Those people just went and took their land. But you see how that was all over the news. Standing Rock in South Dakota a couple years ago, right, with the Native American tribe out there. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah, I remember that, John.
Now, you ever heard of Cujo Lewis, Brother Forecast?
Nah.
Study Cujo Lewis. He was the last slave brought here on a slave ship illegally. I know his descendants, right? In Mobile, Alabama, he created something called Africa Town. At the same time they was doing that to the Native Americans in South Dakota, and they had it all over the news, they did it to Africa Town in Mobile, Alabama, and it got no news coverage. The reason I know, like I say, I know his descendants, and I have friends that I know in Mobile, Alabama. The exact same thing. So they're just taking it. So Africa Town is going to be completely, in the next 5 years, Africa Town probably won't even exist. The exact same thing. They found something in Africa Town, or they can run some pipeline or something where they can make money. It's something they were talking about. But they're doing the exact same thing, just taking the land. Anything they give you, they can take it back. But if we go get it from them ourselves, not with their permission, without their permission, and it's ours, we would be, or even if not physically take it, even if we pay for it, if we spend our money for that land, it's our land, it's our town, we'll be more willing to protect it and make sure that we keep it. But if they give it to us, they take it. We'll just be sitting around talking, waiting for them to give us something else. I get it, Mike.
Yeah, that's the truth, and you know, I don't know why would anybody still believe any kind of agreement, because they've betrayed every single treaty or whatever they've ever had with anybody. But as a people, like, we also have to start looking at the people like us that's still pushing, the Democratic Party on us, like, especially people in certain positions, right? Because we all understand that, what what black Republicans say about black Democrats or about the Democrats is true. But the problem is they just don't admit what the Republicans do, because we all heard the argument, well, Democrats have been running the cities for the last 50 years. Well, 60 years ago was Emmett Till, and I guess that's when the Republicans was running it. See, we have to understand that, that's nothing but voting. Well, how you like your racism? Do you want it with a smile, or do you want to just flat out in your face racism? And we can go through, every president, whether they be, Republican or Democrat, and talked about all of the racist things that they've ever done. But in America, right, there are a couple of times when America talks about loving black people like they're kind of doing right now. And that's when America is at war or when America is at election time. But we have to understand they don't see us as nothing but politics. Our lives are nothing but politics. And that's why, white boys like that rapper J.W. Lucas or whatever his name is, that's why he can say stuff like that about Breonna Taylor. But for us, it doesn't matter if it's an election coming up, right? We want her killers, we want justice, right? It doesn't matter about the politics, but they don't ever see us as anything but politics. And that's when it comes to war, because when you look at every single war, that's when you see laws being passed. And other than when people start getting violent, then they start passing, the Voters' Right Act. But we have to understand, like, how they actually use it. I mean, you can just look at the example for the Revolutionary War, right? And everybody know about Crispus Attucks, and how Crispus Attucks was supposedly the first person shot for the Revolutionary War. Right now, he was probably just a brother who was in a bar, and he happened to be the first one to get shot. Not to disrespect the brother or nothing like that, but that's just probably how it played out. But John Adams, the second president of America, literally took the case to defend these soldiers. And he is the one that made Crispus Attucks known as the first person to take a bullet in America, because he know blaming a black man, saying a black man instigated it, would get these British soldiers who just killed a bunch of Americans off. Like, he would beat the case, and he actually won the case, right? But they understand the power of politicizing our lives, right?
Can you repeat that again? Make sure I heard you correct, because I never heard that. Repeat that again, please, sir.
About John Adams.
Yeah, John Henry Adams. Yeah.
Yeah, the second president. Yeah, he was he took the case when the Boston Massacre or whatever, when they shot all the people, and Crispus Attucks was supposed to be the first one. He took the case to actually defend the British, not the he was the defendant, whatever it's called, he defended them, and he actually won the case, and the British soldiers got off. They didn't get in trouble or whatever. But his whole case, his case was based off Crispus Attucks being the one who caused the whole melee in the first place, right? He blamed everything on the black man, and he won the case. But they've done that, time and time again. You can go to World War II, when everybody know what happened, how the black soldiers were treated. But when they were going over there, America wanted to have the face of, the saviors of the world, but they couldn't do that with the way they were treating black people. So on the surface, the president, I guess Truman, was passing laws to supposedly benefit black people, but none of these laws actually ever do. Just like the affirmative action laws that LBJ passed. They were meant for white women the whole time, right? They made white women a minority, but they use politics to keep us divided. And we're sitting here still arguing over Republican and Democrat, when both Republican and Democrat presidents had slaves. So, you know, I'll rest the mic. You can say whatever.
You just said it all, man. You know they did have slaves, and they do use this politics to divide us. We still trying to figure out which white person is less racist, and it's based on his political party. It's amazing how black people can ignore anything you tell them about Jim Crow Joe. 2010, Jim Crow Joe did the eulogy at Robert Byrd's funeral. For those of you who don't know who Robert Byrd is, Robert Byrd was a senator for West Virginia, a Democratic senator, by the way. And the reason this is important is he was also a known, everybody knew it, the known Klan leader of his chapter in West Virginia. Joe Biden did his eulogy and said he was a great man. Now, this is the known leader of the KKK chapter in West Virginia, a Democrat. So the few black people in West Virginia voted for him on the strength that he is a Democrat, not looking into this man's history. You understand? So you can go back just a little further. We know how Joe Biden authored the 1994 crime bill in the way some people take up for him is, well, some black people signed off on it too. Okay, they were wrong too, but they ain't running for president. Joe Biden is. And those black people came out, a couple of them anyway, came out and said they apologized, they was wrong. They didn't understand the ramifications of signing that crime bill at the time. Joe Biden say he wouldn't change nothing. Now, I don't think integration was good for us. But during integration, Joe Biden said he don't want his kids to go to an integrated school. He don't want his kids to go to a zoo, to go to schools with animals. It would be like a zoo. So what people do you think he was talking about? But black people would ignore that because he's a Democrat and they hate Donald Trump so bad. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not taking up for Donald Trump. That's not what I'm doing. But since black people already know how Donald Trump is, you have to touch on how his opponent is too. Because I'm not voting for the lesser of two evils. Evil is evil. Evil is evil. And we have to stop making excuses. Because I've heard so many black people scared. I don't know if you heard anyone say this forecast or anyone in the chat. Donald Trump gonna cause a race war. You ever heard that before, forecast?
Yeah, I heard that.
So now watch this. If Donald Trump is gonna cause the race war, right? As if they haven't already been at war with us. But watch this. Donald Trump been in office 3.5 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has not. Okay, so the race war, what they talking about, have not started, right? You know when it will start. So for all the ones who scared of a race war might start because they think we gonna get slaughtered. Me myself, I'm gonna embrace it. But anyway, for all the people that are afraid to saying Donald Trump is gonna start a race war, Donald Trump is the only one that can control his constituents. This all-out race war that a lot of black people is afraid of. If Joe Biden win, that's when it's going to happen. If it happens, the all-out race war, not the sneaky race war. What they doing now? Catch you by yourself, lynch you from a tree. It's sneaky because it'd be probably about 5, 6, maybe 10 of them, or like they tried to do the guy in Indiana. But then these guns, and they're gonna be the guns are blazing. That's just what I believe. If Donald Trump loses. Now, I don't care if Donald Trump win or lose because they're both the same to me. Neither one of them have done anything to deserve my vote. Neither one of them. And if they want to come with an all-out race war, forecast, you know I go train and I have ammunition and I teach my kids and I have people and we are stocking up on ammo right now. And if you have guns, you need to go get as much ammo as you can in the next month and a half. Because they say by November, the latest December, won't nobody have any ammo. So by September, by end of September, you should have I got 4 guns. By the end of September, I have 4 weapons. I'm gonna have 2,000 rounds per weapon. 2,000 per weapon. 2,000 from a 9mm rifle. 2,000 from an AR-15. 2,000 from an AR pistol. 2,000 from a 9mm handgun. I'm gonna have at least 2,000 rounds per weapon, and that's what we better do if we want to survive and learn, get proper training, learn how to use it. And remember, it's not for a street fight. I don't really fight no more. No way. I can get away from that. But we have to remember, it's not for a street fight. It's for protection. We can always walk away from a street fight. But like they did in Macon, Georgia, maybe a month ago, a little bit less than a month ago, white lady pulled up to the Walmart waiting on a park. The black lady didn't move out the park. She didn't move out the parking spot quick enough. So that white lady just pulled out her gun and started shooting. She didn't hit nobody, but she shot up about 3 black people cars. Couple weeks before that, this white lady get out, pointing her gun at the black lady and her kids. Parking spot, same thing. So we have to arm ourselves, and we have to take training. We have to learn how to properly handle the weapon that we're using. Handgun, learn to properly handle the handgun. AR-15, your rifle, or your AK, whatever type of rifle you have, a 22, whatever. Learn to properly use the rifle so we can properly protect ourselves. I get it, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm about to wrap it up soon. But you know, remember Joe Biden said, he doesn't want us near him, his mom, or his drug addict son. So, for us to start defending him today is crazy, especially when we don't defend each other and we won't stand up for each other. We'll be quicker to denounce somebody like Farrakhan than we will Joe Biden, even though, like you said, during integration, he was strictly against it. But integration again was another tactic they used to destroy us. And they were willing to give equal funding to black schools just to keep us out of their schools. And of course, they probably would have had to fight for it the way they fought for integration. But it was Thurgood Marshall and the NAACP who didn't want to accept, you know, equal funding. They said the only way to be equal was to be into white schools, but that hurt us all the way around. It hurt our teachers. It hurt, our students. And now we don't know anything about ourselves. We know that Christopher Columbus discovered America because we aren't taught who we are. We aren't taught about anything outside of white supremacy. And if we talk about it, then is labeled dangerous. We're labeled terrorists. And there's a reason for that, because they don't want to see their system destroyed. And like you said, we got to start protecting ourselves, because if they know what happens, if they know it doesn't come with punishment, harming one of us doesn't come with punishment, then they're going to keep doing the same thing over and over. And that we just have to start being aware of their tactics that they use to keep us off guard, to keep us in the position of servitude, right? Because it was always meant to be perpetual, right? That's what they said in their laws. We as a people have to find it within ourselves to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps yet again. And we have to remember, we are the only group to ever pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Every other group in America, every single one has had handouts, but we have had our stuff taken away and destroyed, and we rebuild it, and we came back time and time again. And we have to remember, when we build it, we had more unity because they didn't have the illusion of inclusion. So we have to understand that we don't have any other choice, just like they didn't have any other choice. And we could build whatever we want to build right now. It's just a matter of understanding that we can do it. So, you can go ahead, close out, my brother. You can say, take as long as you want, say whatever you want to say. I'll plug your channel and all that.
All right. Once again, my brother, I thank you for inviting me to your show to be a part of your panel. I appreciate the chat. Thank y'all for listening. And I hope I said something that you like. My channel is called Brother Bakari. If you have not subscribed, you should go listen, subscribe. Go listen, go subscribe to the channel. It's called Brother Bakari. This is what I'm about. I'm about unity. I'm about us uniting. I'm about us crossing, as I call them, tribal lines. So I'm about us crossing tribal lines for liberation. Unite, organize, create discipline for our liberation. And when I was talking about the gun training and all that, you also need your vest. And you're going to get the vest with the 2 plates. When you order your vest, or you know a store you can go in and get your vest, ask them or tell them you want a vest that can stop rifle rounds. You don't just want the ones that can stop the handgun. You want the ones that can stop the AR, the 223, 5.56 rounds, the 7.62 rounds, the 308 rounds, all the rifles, and the shotgun rounds. And when you get your weapon, make sure you have at least another 2-3 magazines. The weapons right now, they're hard to find. You might have to go online. You can go on, if you want me to post a number in the chat, I have a number to a brother. You have to you can order offline from him. But I want all of us to be able to defend ourselves against these damn wicked beasts. And it ain't just the white men, all of them. It's black people versus the world. And that's what we have to understand. It's black people versus the world, because it has been the world that has been beating down black people forever, not just in the United States, all around the world. So we must come together. We must unite. I wave the red, black, and green. You don't have to wave the red, black, and green. You might have your own flag that represents you. But long as we know we need each other to make it, not just to survive, because we should be tired of surviving. It's time for us to start living. And let's create a system so our kids can live and not just survive, so our kids don't have to constantly survive and watching this trauma, because that's traumatizing. You always seeing your people getting killed on TV. Someone can just sit on his neck for 9 seconds and choke him out. Lynched from the tree, shot in the back, traumatizing. This is 2020. The only thing that has changed what's going on with black people, African people around the world, is we got cameras now that we can record it. And I'm going to yield the mic, man. And once again, I thank you. And once again, my channel is Brother Bakari. You can go check out some of my videos and subscribe. Peace.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother Bakari, and I appreciate you coming through, and make sure y'all subscribe to my brother channel. And yeah, I appreciate all of y'all for coming through, man. But it's just we have to start paying attention. We are in a generation, in a time where we have the internet, and the internet has leveled the playing field as far as communication goes. They are no longer in control of every single thing that we see, that we hear, right? Our ancestors did great things, right? They, like I said before, integration, when it was all black schools, our black teachers taught out of the Jet magazine because they had to buy their own books and buy their own stuff, right? We don't have to have the same struggle, the same level, but we have to have the same kind of unity. We have to have the same vision, and we have to understand that just like them, there's no illusion of inclusion. But make sure y'all subscribe to the backup channel. the Forecast Radio 24. The new video is about to come up soon. Is uploading as soon as it finished processing. It's gonna be a live premiere. So hopefully it'll be soon, and hopefully the video stay up or whatever. But I appreciate all of y'all coming through. I appreciate you, brother Bakari. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Much love, man. I'm gonna be back on here soon, and I'll see y'all on the live premiere. I'll talk to y'all on there. But as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.